All right, welcome to our first actual lesson, lesson 1001 or lesson 1. I'm going to drop the 1000s because the 1000s just lets you know that we're in section 1 of math, which is the 2 in front of the decimal point, numbers and operations. We're going to start with place value. And place value is very important for ordering numbers, and you will see why after this video. So, our objective, identify place value in numbers. Place value is the position of digits in a number. Okay, so here you have several place value charts. The one on the left is aligned vertically. So this one here is aligned vertically, and this shows you how you start. The decimal point, and then you go ones, tens, hundreds, and up the line as the numbers go left. And as the numbers go to the right of a decimal, they get smaller and smaller. And the THS lets you know that your numbers are actually less than 1. So this is just vertical, and the horizontal this is how we actually write numbers. So let's take a number like 341. So you have the digit 3 is in the hundreds place, in the tens place you have 4, and in the ones place you have 1. Now if I add a tenth on, I would say oh. If I add a hundredth on, I would have 6. So this number 341 and 6 hundredths is actually how you read the number. The and means decimal point. And I know a lot of people use and for commas or whatever other thing, but and technically, mathematically means decimal point. So let's say we had $341.06. And the and is going to be important when we get to fractions, and I will explain why at that time. Okay, so our notes. All numbers that are not fractions or decimals have an invisible decimal at the end of the number, and that's going to be important for when we get to fractions and decimals. So for example, 1 has a 1, ones in a ones column, so it's 1. But if you wanted to turn this into another number, you would write 1.0. 23, the same thing. You have a 2 in the tens, a 3 in the ones, and if you wanted to turn this into another type of number, which we will get to later on, it's 23.0. So there is a decimal there, but you just drop it because the value is 0. So we're going to use the chart to find the place of the digit circle. So our first example, numbers bigger than 1. What is the place value of each digit in the number 608,952? So using our place value chart, we have 608,952. And that's how we use the place value chart. We just line the numbers up. Okay, for number less than 1, be aware of the THS indicating numbers less than 1. Okay, so now I'm going to use a 0 in front of the decimal point to let you know there's no value to the digit in the ones place. A lot of times when you see numbers written, you'll just see the decimal and a bunch of numbers. So how do we read this number? So we start at the very end. We have 604 70 millionths, and you'll tell by the chart that we have, and this will make sense. Now, looking at the number we have, we're going to write it in, and then we're going to say it. So 60407. There's a 0 in the last place value. A 0 is a number, but it has no value, so it's no reason to write it as we say the number. So how do we read this number? We look at the last digit, which is 7, and we know we have hundred thousandths. So we're going to start 604 700 thousandths is how we actually read this number. So the last digit becomes your place value, or the furthest digit to the right becomes your place value, and whatever numbers you have to the left start at the last place value. So these are examples, and try to see if you can do it on your own. Here's your first problem. See if you can use the chart on the next page to put this number in, and then try to say it to yourself. Here's your second problem. Again, put the number in the chart first, and then try to say the number to yourself. Here's your third examples, and we'll have two numbers bigger than 1, two numbers less than 1. Try to say this number and put the numbers and the values of the chart. And finally, our final problem for this lesson. Put the numbers in the chart and try to say the number once you're done. Okay, for the answer, we have 1,203,764. Problem 2, again, in front of the commas. We have 2,040,008. Any numbers with zeros, you do not have to say the actual place value of those numbers. Now, with numbers less than 1, our zeros hold our place value. So we have 1, 2, 3 zeros, and then we have 503. 5 0. Oops, I did not get a chart big enough to go past hundred thousands. So I'm just going to write the 3 on the end. And I'm going to use the numbers on the left side of the decimal. So going this way to the left, after 100,000 thousands come millions. So what do we have here? We're going to read the number as it's written without the zeros. So this will read 503, but the last digit tells us our place value. So this is 503 millionths with a THS at the end. 503 millionths. Again, sorry to confuse you. I did not find a graph low enough to do these numbers. You have 6 numbers again, and I only have 5 numbers to put in a box. So 166,666 millionths. I know millionths is not listed on the page, but as you keep going further to the right, you just copy what's on the left. What's on the left and on the right is exactly the same, except for on the right you have your THS. There's no ones to the right of the decimal point, because if you divide by 1, you'll get a number in the ones spot. So once you divide by 10, then you get tenths, and you'll get numbers less than 1. This will make sense once we get to fractions, but this lesson is just how to read numbers using place value and how to put them in the columns and why they're in columns. So thank you for watching that video. Watch the intro to numbers and operations video or my welcome video. If you have any questions how this channel is arranged, this is the first lesson.